Mr. Adam Cooked, are you tightly together? Are you stuck? Are you bound?
I don't even know if I want to answer that, mate. That's terrible. This is such an emotionally strong game, and you're making puns at the start of the video.
Well, what can I say? That is my shtick. That is my USP. What can I say? But you've been playing Bound. Tell me about it. Because I enjoyed it at E3 when the 20 minutes I played of it.
I mean, it's one of these games, right? A lot of games now. Well, a lot of games. I was trying to think which games there were, but games are starting to tackle a bit more mature storylines, and I'd liken it to That Dragon Cancer. And this isn't quite to that degree, but it's certainly a more mature narrative here. But what it is basically a platform game, a 3D platform game at that. Mm-hmm. But there's no real. I mean, there is things that can harm you, but there's no real peril. Like you will die, but you're basically by mistiming a jump or falling off something, and the checkpoints are like right back. You fell off, you're right back at the start of that jump. You know, it's really no penalty for death. Mm-hmm. What this is a game that you play a character who's a ballet dancer or a gymnast, and you can see they've modelled it on gymnasts because the literally jumps are gymnast moves.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said in my preview.
Like they have. If they haven't, then it's very well done. It's one of the best. It's a combination of one of the best looking and sounding games I've played in a while. It looks incredible. It's kind of polygons floating around and stuff, but it's just that complete dedication to an art style that I really dig. They never bottle it. It just goes all the way with that art style, and what makes it so good as well is the audio kind of goes there with it. Like, it's a brilliant soundtrack. I can't talk about the story. I mean, I might be able to, but I don't want to because it's a short game, like 2 hours or so, and there's 5 levels. But from the moment you start the game, your first footsteps, there's like a piano chord that really does kind of that. It gives the mood. It sets the mood beautifully at the start of the game, and it kind of maintains that all the way through. Like, there is definitely a story that you can follow, and I think you twig what's happening before there's like these little vignettes in between levels that they're interactive. Okay. You can move around in them, and they kind of fill out the actual, they're the more this is what's happening part of the story. They're not long, and let's say they're just interactive vignettes, and it's one of those games where if you took away the art and the art and the audio, it would be fairly average, like just a competent platform. I mean, you played it. It's not like this outrageously amazing platform game.
No, it's not. It's not like next level or anything. It's not revolutionary, but I enjoyed it. It was nice, and I think the thing that always that stuck with me from the demo most was the movement with the ribbons and stuff, and as you did flips and twirls and stuff. So where does that play out in the full game? Is it literally just as you're walking, do twirls to get beamed? Like, what is this? Why do you need these ribbons coming off and stuff?
So there are things that can harm you, as I say, and basically at the end of each level you have to do this. If you hold down R2 and you hold down one of the face buttons, she dances, and as she dances in the main level, it creates like a protective aura around her that lets you go through places. So there's like red fiery kind of things that attack you, and they bring her to her knees, and she's sort of like crying and that. But if you dance, it wards them off, and if you dance before you see them, it protects you, so you can just run through with L2 by hold that down to run through. It's kind of warding off the darkness, if you will, like by dancing. That's how it works mechanically. Why she dances, I don't know. I can't tell you. That's not me saying why. I'm not going to spoil the game. I don't think they ever really spell out why she's a dancer. I just think it's one of those things where that's the way we've decided to make her.
Is there anything more to the game aside from the platforming? And that combating with these ribbon type things? Is that it? Just jump off some cliffs and stuff? Just that it? And then you experience it around you?
It's like each level's a sort of smaller portion of this larger world. It looks like that you can go through. And then you get to the end and you get like a oppressive narrative moment which you have to dance to fend off. It's quite arty-farty, if you know what I mean. Like, some people are not going to dig it, but if you do, you really like it. But yeah, like you ward off the darkness, as it were, by dancing. You go on, you get on it's like a carpet that you just jump on, and then essentially it takes you automatically to the end of the level. Like, it goes through all the scenery, moves around and shows you all the art, and then you just walk out through a door and you finish the level, and that's kind of it. And aside from just like a kind of curveball at the end of the game I wasn't expecting, it's over. It certainly doesn't outstay its welcome, and it's certainly not like Game of the Year material, but I really enjoyed the story. I found because... Yeah, I've really enjoyed the story because it's just not... I don't think it's one I've seen tackled in a game before.
What is this mature subject, or can you not go into it?
I don't want to, because if I tell you, it will complete. If I tell you what the subject matter is, then it will complete. Because there are moments in the game where I thought it was going one way and it goes another, and whether that was me thinking, "Oh my god, are they going to do that?" Oh no, they just did that. But the speedrun mode is because you can attack any of the 5 levels any way you want. So you do this first level, obviously the tutorial level, and then after that you can pick which level you want to do. It doesn't tell you you're wrong, but in those levels there are paths you can't go down unless you do the levels in kind of the right order, so to speak, to speed run them, and you know what I mean. So there is more, but I think most people will be one and done with it. I know I probably am. I'm gonna have another go through just to because I have to for review. But generally speaking, if I wasn't reviewing it, I'd be one and done, and I'd feel fine with that as long as it wasn't 40 quid. It's a short game.
Yeah,
it's a good game. It's just not. If it was slightly better as a platformer, I would be able to give it a ringing endorsement. But as it is, the audio and visuals really elevate it above what it probably has any right being,
Okay, so it's like a nice, artistic, pleasurable, just nice, tranquil game. Sounds good. Well, if you want to read Adam's full written review on Bound, you can go over to GodisaGeek.com for that and a whole host of more video game words. And if you would be so kind, you can stay right here on youtube.com/GodisaGeek for a whole plethora of videos on the old video games. And of course, if you'd be so kind, you can go over to patreon.com/GodisaGeek, throw a couple of quid our way to help support the brilliant content we provide, and we'd be ever so grateful. Cheers.
Should have backed the GodisaGeek Patreon.